show. This is Rod Isaac. I got Chris Dietz of Fifth Down Sports. How you doing today, man?
Are we live here?
Yeah,
Look,
we live. We live.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Let me see. You can hear me now?
It's unmuted. Um, I can hear me. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? My mic ain't. Let me mute my mic.
Um,
Can you hear me?
hold on a minute. Um,
Testing your speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working.
yeah, my speakers are working. I can't hear your mic. Um, my hair's fucking crazy. What's up, guys? I don't know. I'm trying to get the audio working here. My mic seems to be working. It looks like the test is working. Automatically adjust mic volume. So, yeah, I still can't hear you, buddy.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right, cool. Man, what you been up to, man?
Nothing much, man. I've been the last few days I've been trying to recover after watching She-Hulk.
You said watching what?
She-Hulk
Oh, okay.
on Disney Plus.
The new Disney Plus. How's that?
It was awful.
So they pretty much made it PC and gender, fluid like they normally do the comic books.
I've been thinking about doing a video on this, and I've just been racking my brain on how to figure this out. But the first thing I said was, it's really bad when the She-Hulk porno is more in canon with the comic books than the actual show on the MCU. That you can't make this stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's awful. It's that bad.
Damn. But
Like,
you know what I mean?
they just tried to take the character, and instead of it goes in line with everything that's going on in the world right now. You can't have a male lead. You have the character in the Hulk. We've grown up with the Hulk as being the strongest thing in Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And nope, because he's male, they have to knock him down a peg. He has to be better than him at everything, and that's what's happening with every single franchise that we have. Star Wars can't have Obi-Wan Kenobi be he can't be the lead in his own show because he's male. You have to have females that lead the show. Star Trek, you can't have male leaders. You have to have a female captain who's good at everything. Star Wars, instead of having Luke Skywalker, you have to have Rey, and she's good at. She's not bad at anything.
I really stopped watching Star Wars. I don't like the Rey characters.
This is where we're at in entertainment. It's no longer entertainment. It's just, hey, women are better than men at everything, and until everybody gets that through their head, they're gonna keep slamming us with all this stuff. And here's the thing, it's just not entertaining. Like, it's just not good. Like, I'm all for a strong female character, but that doesn't mean you have to degrade every single male that's in a program. Like, a strong female character is somebody who is along with a strong male character to keep balance. So I've been trying to recover from that, and of course we had preseason football this weekend.
So, man, I have a question then about your Cowboys. What do you think about Turbin?
I love what the Cowboys do. I mean, the Cowboys, the funny thing about the Cowboys is they come out week one of the preseason, they come out and they look absolutely horrible. Right? Penalties all across the board and whatever. But then week 2, they come out and absolutely crush it. So everybody's going to be jumping down. Everybody's going to be, which Cowboys is real. This is why I say the preseason's about, you watch the first 3 drives and then you go, all right, the rest of the game is meaningless. It's just fun. It's just fun to watch. Like, it's not worth breaking. It's not worth breaking it down. It's not worth going, ooh, this guy's going to be a star. This guy's going to be here. No. After the first 3 drives, you're like, all right, it's just a scrimmage from now on.
Did you see that? What games did you watch preseason? Why you just watched the Cowboys, or you watched other games?
I watched the Cowboys, Chargers. I watched the Eagles, Browns. I watched the Eagles, Browns just because it was on at the bar. It was on at the bar while we were playing poker. And I watched the beginning of the Giants Bengals game.
So, what you think about that nasty injury? That was a nasty knee injury.
Oh, I hate. That's the one thing about preseason, that the way I look at preseason, and I watch it with my Cowboys. I don't care if they win or lose, as long as everybody comes out of it, as long as everybody makes it out of the game. That's a win. As long as nobody gets, as long as none of our star players have catastrophic injuries, then we're good. But I hate I saw the Jets game week 1. The Jets season's over, and not that the Jets season ever really was going to start, but Kyle Wilson's he's done. He's done, and that it sucks. It sucks to see a guy hurt like that in a preseason game. And as somebody who had an ACL injury, I can't even watch him anymore. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, that guy's done, and everybody looks at me like, oh no, he'll get up. I'm like, no, that's his ACL. I can tell ACL injuries right away.
So Zach Wilson went out to. I have Jet fans that are really confident this year because Sauce and you know what I mean, and the other accusations with the young players. As a Jet fan told me to my face, he said, "Man, I think we're gonna beat y'all twice, the Patriots twice." What do you think about that, Chris Dietz? Do you think they could sweep us? Before
or after the injury?
Before. I say before the injury.
Before the injury, I would say the Jets. The Jets always play. They always play the Patriots tough. And so, but a sweep? No. Even with Zach Wilson, they were not going. They're not going into Foxborough and beating the Patriots. Not with Bill. Not with Bill on the side. Not with Bill on the sideline. It's not going to happen.
I'm seeing other media, sports medias, Sports Furry, couple other big media, YouTubers are saying we might go 5-12. What do you think about that, Chris Dietz? Do you see us going 5-12?
The thing is, it's always it's always possible, but Mac Jones took a big step
last year. That's what I'm.
Last year he played really well, and can he take that? Can he go to the next level? Yes. Can he have a sophomore slump? I mean, we've seen sophomore slumps before. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not something I would. I mean, it's not when I look at it. That's not something I see from the Patriots. The 5-12 is a big drop.
That's a big drop from 10-7. Even with Cam Newton. Even with Cam, we went 7-9.
That's a huge drop. I mean, could the Patriots go 7-9 and miss the playoffs? Yeah. But they're not going to fall to a top 5 pick, which
I don't see that.
Team would be, a 5-12 team would be almost. You're talking at least top 10. You're talking in the top 10 of the draft. That's not where the Patriots are going to be.
What did you watch any of even us against what we went against the Giants, Carolina?
I saw a little bit. I saw a little bit of the Patriots Giants. It was towards the end of the game, so it was basically the guys. And this was the first preseason game, so it was basically guys who aren't going to be on the team in a week anyway.
Do you see Bailey Zapp making the roster? I like Bailey Zapp.
I think he'll make the roster out of just being there. I think he'll make it as one of the top, one of the he'll be either one of the last guys cut and then signed to the practice squad, or he'll be one of the guys that's just kept around.
Okay, I liked his press. You know what I mean? He got that really. I liked watching him at Western Kentucky. I thought it was. He was a good quarterback there. You know what I mean? What he threw for how many yards he threw for last year in college at Western Kentucky? Something crazy.
Last year, the yard. I think he threw for like 5,000 yards. 5,000 yards. The thing he did is he threw 54 touchdowns or something.
He was lighting it up.
That's insane, and he had a great bowl game. That was what pushed him into the draft, and that's where Bill always sees something. If Bill sees something in you, he'll keep you around.
And I appreciate that because, I like the competition. We all know Hoyer's Hoyer, but we need some competition in that quarterback room, and I think he can give it, even if it's just a practice arm. I like competition in all positions.
I mean, he's not going to be the backup. He'll be the third stringer because Brian Hoyer is a great backup. He's the perfect guy that they need because if Mac Jones does go down, you need a competent guy to go in there. You're not going to go to a rookie.
No.
Coming off Mac Jones, you need a guy who's going to come in and be able to right the ship. So that's Brian Hoyer to a T. He's not a guy who's going to be your starter week 1. But he's a guy that if you have to start him in week 7 to get you 7-8 and get your guy back, Brian Hoyer's the perfect guy for that.
And I like the couple pieces we got on defense. I think Josh Oche of Michigan, I think he's going to have a good year. Bentley. I'll even like that DN we got from Alabama that went undrafted, Ray. I don't know if you know too much about Ray. He got He got slumber with injuries in college, so everybody fell asleep on him. But he looks really good. He looks really good. He looks really good.
Well, you know why? You know why he ended up in New England?
Why?
I mean, from Alabama. He's from Alabama. Nick Saban, and Bill Belichick are like this, man. You know when they signed him, you know the first call from Bill Belichick was like, "Hey Nick, what's this guy like?" And I'm sure Nick told him everything that he needed to know. Like, hey, guy's coming off injury, he's got something to prove. Here, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are like best friends. So I'm sure Bill knows everything and knows how to use him.
But another thing that was really sad too, I heard Sam, what's his name? The backup, the rookie out of Carolina. I forgot how to pronounce Carroll. He got hurt in preseason. Looked like
Sam Darnold?
No. The backup for Carolina, the rookie. What's his name? Matt Carroll or something like that.
Oh, Matt Eric Corral, from Mississippi.
Yeah, he got like really nasty hampered. You know what I mean, with an injury.
He wasn't gonna be anywhere in the mix anyway. Once they made that Baker Mayfield trade, that was it.
And reports saying Baker's gonna be the guy first game. How do you feel about that?
There was no doubt from day one. When they made that trade, they knew what they were getting. The question is going to be, what do you do with Sam Darnold? Do you find a way to trade him, or
who wants him though?
Or do you just cut him?
Who wants him though?
Nobody's going to want Sam Darnold unless they have an injury, and the only team that had the injury so far is the Jets, and Sam Darnold's not going back to the Jets. So
they said Matt White or Joe Flacco might be the guy week one. I'm hearing more Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco will be the guy for the Jets, and
they got a tough game at Baltimore.
We all know how that.
Or Baltimore going to them week one. That's gonna be.
And isn't that just how the world works? I mean. Yeah. Baltimore coming in week one, and Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback for the Jets against the Baltimore Ravens. You couldn't write the script.
Would you, in that game, would you take the over or the under?
I'd take the under.
You take the under?
Yeah, I'll take the under in that one. I'll take the under in any Jets game, in any Jets game, because if it's over. If it's over 30, let's say it's over 35, you're basically counting on the Ravens to score 30 of the points, because the Jets aren't scoring more than 14. The Jets aren't going to score more than – they might score 17 points. So you're counting on the Ravens to score in the high 20s.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Which is that's a lot to put on. That's a lot to put on the Ravens defense. That's a lot to put on the Ravens offense, because they're not projected to do that unless the Jets do have a competent defense. Saleh knows how to coach defense, so you got to think they're going to keep them down. But the Jets offense is god awful.
Just go to the college ranks, some early September games. How do you feel about NC State versus East Carolina?
I like NC State in that one.
You like NC State?
I like NC State has a good roster coming back. The thing about college, and this I just started a lot of my college. I just started a lot of my college reviews. And,
I like East Carolina though. I do. I do like them.
It's all about the transfer. It's all about the transfer portal. Every single team I read, every single team I try to read up on, it's like, all right, this guy did great for them last year, but he transferred out. Or, hey, we got this guy transferring in. I mean, the transfer portal has absolutely destroyed anything about college football.
Do you think it's a bad thing?
I think it's a whole. I
kids
think
get to choose where they want to go if it's not working out.
I think it's I think here's my thoughts on the transfer portal, and I've said this from day one. It should be a one time. It should be a one-time thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can choose to do it. You can do it once.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be JT Daniels and play at USC, get injured, transfer to Georgia, and then not play at Georgia and transfer again, and he's the starter. So I was just looking at it. He's going to be the starter somewhere else, somewhere in the Big Ten now. It's like guys are just bouncing around all over the place. And
is JT Daniels the one that played with DK Metcalf that's been in the college 7 years? We talking about the same guy?
No, he didn't play with DK.
Who's his quarterback? Who's that quarterback that played with DK and he's still in college? Oh, I forgot the guy's name. He's like been in school a while.
That was years ago.
Yeah, I forgot the guy's name.
He's still in college. That guy's still in college.
Yeah. Or one of his high school quarterbacks still in college. I forgot the story, but anyway, go on.
Yeah. But a lot of these guys. But here, my problem is Caleb Williams, the quarterback who's now at USC, started almost every game at Oklahoma last year. Mm-hmm. Like if you play, and the way they do this is the way it should be is it should be the reverse of the redshirt rule. And the redshirt rule is if you play in less than 3 games, you can play 3 games, and it will still count as a redshirt year. Coaches can still tag you with the red shirt, so they don't waste the year. So you don't waste the year. It should be the reverse of that. If you start more than 3 games as a player, you shouldn't be able to get the transfer. Right? If you want to transfer, that's fine. You can transfer, but it's the old school transfer where you have to sit out a year. Because if you're a starter for a team for the whole season, you shouldn't just be able to be like, oh, that's it, we're out of here. Like that's not good. I mean, you look at Caleb Williams did it. Bo Nix is now in Oregon after playing 3 whole years at Auburn.
What do you think about that's a good segue. How do you feel about Oregon going against Georgia? How do you think that matchup going to be?
Oregon,
that's going to be a big time game.
It's gonna be tough, but I was looking at Oregon. The reason I was looking at Oregon, but I'm on record, and I will stay on record. Bo Nix is a horrible quarterback.
Yeah, I never liked him.
He's a horrible quarterback. He can run. He can run the football. He can't throw. He cannot throw the football. He can't throw accurately.
So what do you think? So what position do you think he should switch to, where you think it's nowhere else you could put him?
I don't really think there's anywhere to put him. I mean, there's really nowhere to put Bo Nix. He's not a running back. He's a good running quarterback, but he's not a good quarterback. You have to be able to throw the ball to play quarterback. So
you think he's worse than Tim Tebow?
He's 10 times worse than Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow in college was at least effective.
Yeah.
Bo Nix is not. I mean, Tim Tebow was a monster in college. Johnny Football was a monster in college. Mm-hmm. Because they could run, they could run the ball so well, and they could at least throw the ball competently. Bo Nix can't complete passes. Like the guy has to be sprinting wide open. The guy has to be wide open by like 10 yards for him to actually throw the ball to them. And you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that against Georgia. Against Georgia, you're not going to have guys running wide open. You have to throw the ball into tight windows. We can't do it.
So do you think Georgia is going to get it done easily, pretty handily? What are you saying? What score you would think it would be, the game?
I don't think it'll be easy because Oregon does have a good team. They do have a good defense. The defense will keep Oregon in the game. And where is that game? That will be the huge story.
I think it might be in Athens, but I'm not too. Let me see.
If it's between the hedges, it's not. Georgia's going to blow them out of the water. If it's between the hedges, if it's in Oregon, Oregon has a chance.
No, Oregon's at Georgia at the Dog Stadium.
So it's basically a home. It's a home game for Georgia. Yeah, Georgia's going to blow them. Georgia's going to blow them out of the water. This isn't Ohio State from last year. Like Georgia's such a better team than Oregon, and Oregon's got coming in their new coach, new system, and like I said, Bo Nix will make a big mistake, and Kirby Smart is one of the smartest guys. He's one of the best defensive coaches. He'll make you make the big mistake, and that big mistake will hurt.
How do you feel about Alabama playing Utah State? Do you think that's going to be a competitive game, or is it going to be a game you just skip and just see the highlights?
Utah State. Yeah, I mean, this is Alabama to a T. Mm-hmm. Alabama playing a nobody team, a nobody team from the Mountain West Conference. I mean, this is why I hate college scheduling. Like Alabama should not be playing Utah. They should not be playing Utah State. They should be playing Utah, and we should get a competitive matchup.
You know what it is, man. You already know what it is. They like to pad their schedule early. You know what I mean? Get all the confidence up, blow up these small schools up, so they can feel good about themselves. You already know what it is.
It's smart. If you're Alabama, you don't have to load up out of conference because your division is absolutely disgusting. You have LSU, Texas A&M, you have Mississippi State, and Auburn, all in your division that you're going to play, and then you're going to play Tennessee every year, and you're going to get another SEC East team. So there's no need to load up. That's why college scheduling. That's why the way that they pick teams for the playoff is it benefits these teams to go out and play nobodies and just win your conference games, especially in the SEC. Win your SEC games and you're fine.
That's why you know what I mean. I'm gonna be loading up coming up this week. Put some easy bets in, get a couple dollars, because we all know the beginning of the college season, that's where you get the money before it gets too tough. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and you're gonna want to put, you're gonna. I don't know what the spread is on the Utah State game, but they're gonna want Bryce Young to come out and have a showcase game. Mm-hmm. Because they know Bryce Young's coming off Heisman Trophy, and for him to have another Heisman Trophy campaign, he needs to put up big time numbers. Because that's what makes it so tough for guys like Bryce Young, because it's been changed from best player in college football to most outstanding. Well, we just saw Bryce Young and what he did last year. So how can you be more outstanding than he was last year? Like, everything was outstanding last year. So he's got to be better than he was last year. Otherwise, people will go, "Oh, well, he's just the same guy." So they're gonna want to showcase him, and he's gonna put up like 400 or 500 yards.
Man, it's gonna be some other interesting games. Number 23 Cincinnati versus Arkansas. I want to see what Jefferson is going to do this year. I think Cincy lost a lot of key players. You can go Sauce, you can go the running back, Desmond Riddler. How do you feel about how that's going to go?
I think Cincinnati. This will be a good test for Cincinnati early. Mm-hmm. Again, going against an SEC opponent. I do find it funny that Cincinnati dropped all the way down to 23.
Yeah.
Going from where they were last, they're going to have just as good. Their defense is going to be good. They got the defensive end that I was just looking at. They're going to have a really good defense again. The quarterback that they have is a senior. So he's been. It's not like he hasn't been there. He knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. So, the big loss is the wide receiver, and so we'll see how Cincinnati reloads at wide receiver. But I think they'll be fine. I don't think they'll come out and dominate Arkansas, but I think they'll come out and play well enough. I think Cincinnati wins that game.
What about this another one? This is another snoozer for you. UTEP versus Oklahoma.
Oh, I love Oklahoma this year. I love everything about Oklahoma this year, especially with Dylan Gabriel. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who was on my watch list, and if you're an NFL guy, this is the guy you want to watch. He's been playing it. He's got 3 years at UCF under his belt, where he was just dominating in that UCF offense. Now he goes to Oklahoma, where the talent around him is that much better. And so I love this Oklahoma team, and especially playing in the Big 12. And you bring in a guy in Venables, who I've said this for years. Venables is the best coach in college football. Obviously Nick Saban is the most accomplished, career-wise, but just as far as a coach and able to teach your player, there's nobody better than Brent Venables. And now he comes into a conference. I've said this for years about the Big 12. The Big 12, where defense is optional. Well, Brent Venables is a defensive coach. He's going to be able to right the ship on defense. And if they can do that with the talent that Oklahoma has on offense, they're going to be dangerous.
So you probably would take just take the points, straight points for Oklahoma versus UTEP?
I'd take Oklahoma in the points, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm loving Oklahoma. I'm loving Oklahoma this year. But again, we haven't seen any of these teams mesh. I'm just going off the fact that Dylan Gabriel was one of my guys to look at, and now he's at a real program. And Marvin Mims is the real deal at wide receiver. So they should be able to put up some really good numbers.
How do you feel about your Notre Dame Fighting Irish playing Ohio State first game? How do you feel about that?
That's gonna be a dirty game, and it's gonna be a nasty draw. Freeman wants to make his mark on the team, but that's a bad opening game for Notre Dame.
And then after that game,
for Notre Dame.
Then after that game, they go to Marshall come to them. Like, why would you not put the Marshall game before Ohio State? Like, I just, and then they play Cal.
Getting Ohio State out of the way, because if you play that game, as long as you don't get blown out. If you're Notre Dame, if you lose to Ohio State, like let's say they lose, a 28-24 game, it's back and forth. Notre Dame is in the game. If Notre Dame is in the game and they lose to Ohio State in week 1, by week 10, everybody's going to have forgotten them. It really benefits playing your toughest game first, and then you just get to walk through the rest of it because everybody's going to expect Ohio State to win that game. So as long as Notre Dame keeps it close, they'll be okay. If they find a way to win it, then they're gonna vault up. They're gonna vault up immediately. You're gonna see them as probably number two behind Alabama.
And another joke by Florida State. Florida State plays the FCS team DeQuinness.
That's not a joke. I mean, Florida State is the joke.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Florida State probably gonna get their ass whooped.
Florida State they've almost got every time they've almost gotten beat by FCS schools the last 2 years. They've been trailing to FCS schools. That should never happen at Florida State. Florida State's a disaster, and I don't see it turning around anytime soon.
How do you feel about UNC versus Florida A&M? Florida A&M.
UNC, it's gonna be a long year for North Carolina, but this is a good start for them. It's a way to get their feet wet, but they don't have Sam Howell anymore. They don't have an NFL. They don't have an NFL caliber quarterback right now. But what they do have is Mac Brown, and Mac Brown knows how to win week 1.
So how much points do you think he's going to be against the HBCU?
I think they put. I think 45.
45.
45. The question is going to be, can they stop? What can they do on defense? That's the question for North Carolina. And then the question is, what will they do against a big time defense? I mean, last year they got screwed because they played Virginia Tech in week 1, and they just weren't ready for it. They weren't ready for a real defense. So they learned their lesson. They go out. They play. They're going to play an HBC, and they're gonna look good. And they're going to get their feet wet before they go into the ACC schedule.
So how do you feel about North Dakota State trying to call out Jackson State and winning the game? I feel like North Dakota State should have been went to FBS. How many national championships you need to win the FCS level to move up?
They should. Everybody should be. Everybody should be going after Jackson State, and they should be going after. With all, North Dakota State should be getting the accolades that everything, what Deion Sanders has done. Deion has brought such a light to the FCS, but that light should be shining on North Dakota State. And that's the thing. North Dakota State has had the light taken off them because of everything that Deion's done. And because of the name Deion Sanders.
But in the same token, though, Chris, why don't you move up? You won so many national titles. Why have you not moved up? Because
they can't. They're They're North Dakota. They're North Dakota State. They can't. They can't move up to the. I mean, they can't. Their facilities are not built for Division I college football. Yes, they have a decent stadium, but it doesn't pack the house. You're not talking about some. To be able to play Division I college football, you have to be able to pack the house every single night. And they can't do that, and they can't do it.
Look at North Carolina A&T. They're moving up to the CA, the Colonial Division. They moved up. You know what I mean?
They moved up. They moved up in the world of the FCS. They haven't moved up to the division. They're not moving up. They're not moving up to like you have to have everything in place. Mm-hmm. You have to have and you have to look at Appalachian State.
Yeah,
it took Appalachian State years to upgrade their facilities to get them to where they are. Mm-hmm. James Madison is moving up. You have to get your facilities built up to where you can handle Division I athletics. And North Dakota State's they're never going to be there. Mm. They're not no one's going to want to go to North Dakota State to play football. You go there if you're not good enough to get in or you have something to prove. Mm-hmm. And you're like, all right, I'll go here so that I can play for 3 years and have a shot at the NFL. You know, guys like Carson Wentz, the kid in San Francisco,
Trey Lance, yeah.
You know, those guys can do it. But not everybody's there.
So how do you feel about the big move of Mike Zimmer joining Coach Prime's staff as a defense analyst? How do you feel about that?
That's such a buildup. Having a guy like Zimmer on your coaching staff, it just shows you that Dion knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, anybody who can get a guy like Mike Zimmer's been a head coach in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Like he didn't get that job by accident. He's a guy he's a Bill Parcells disciple. Was on Bill Parcells' staff in Dallas. Worked under Marvin Lewis. This is a guy who knows football, and having him, it gives them legitimacy. It just adds to everything that Dion's trying to do down there.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about man? Let's move up to this the harsh thing we've been talking about. Last time I had you on, man. I am over Roger Goodell. He you know what I mean, let the media and you know what I mean, these women groups get in his head about Deshaun Watson, and they made him, you know what I mean, pretty much take a plea of 11 games. What are your thoughts about it? You know what I mean? I really feel. Go ahead.
It's a travesty. It's a travesty of justice. This is the mob coming after one guy, and what has to be explained to me, which hasn't, and never will be, because the big time media doesn't care. I want to know what new evidence is found. What was the new evidence? What was the new presentation that doubled the suspension? That's what I want to know. I want to know why the NFLPA even signed on to this. The process to this. Look, I don't care about Deshaun. I don't care about Deshaun Watson. I don't care. What I care about is the process. The process was manipulated against him. And that's what gets me fired up. Is they had the NFL and the NFLPA had a judge that they both agreed on, look at the evidence and come up with a solution. The NFL didn't like the solution that came up by the mutual agreement, So they went out and found their own guy. And even this is how weak the NFL's evidence was. The NFL wanted a full year suspension, and their hand-picked guy couldn't even go a full year. He couldn't even get a full year. So obviously you didn't have the evidence there. You just found a guy who was willing to work with the NFL and not take anything into account. Because the mutual judge, I have no idea why the NFLPA would ever sign on to that. I would have said no. I would have said, all right, you can. We did a mutual agreement. You don't like it, we get to pick the judge. We pick the judge because you're not trying this guy a fourth. 4 times this guy has been tried. 2 grand juries couldn't find enough evidence. A mutual judge couldn't find evidence. But somehow this last case did. What new evidence did they find? That's what I want to know. But you're not going to hear that from the media because they got what they want. They got what they wanted. They got a longer suspension. And it doesn't make any sense.
I just feel like they always try to make the example out of them, you know what I mean, the minorities in the NFL. Like, look, Big Ben raped somebody and he got 6 games.
I said this on your show last time.
This man jerked off on somebody. She didn't have to sit there and got jerked off. She could have left and called the cops in. Why wait so long to want justice? And you took the money. A lot of them took the money, so you can't. It's a lot. It's a lot, man. And this, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth. They always want to make example out of the minorities, and they don't care. They'd rather be racist than a sexist, and that's the honest truth.
That's the new thing. We started this conversation talking about the entertainment world. Mm-hmm. This is the life we live in now, where women, where the female has Trump the race card. And there's no greater sign than right here. Deshaun Watson is your test case. They don't care about looking racist because there's nothing about this case other than the fact that Deshaun Watson's a black quarterback.
Yeah,
and no mainstream media will throw that at Roger Goodell. They're not going to ask him, why did you do this to a black quarterback and not the white quarterbacks? No one's going to ask. If I were in front of Roger Goodell, that would be my first question is, why did you do this to a black quarterback when you've let white quarterbacks off the hook? I mean, Ben Roethlisberger raped 2 women. Sexual misconduct in a bathroom, unwanted sexual acts performed in bathrooms of a club in Nevada and a club in Georgia. Mm-hmm. Ben Roethlisberger admitted to it, admitted that it happened. So there's no question about whether he did it or not.
But 6 games though.
But he gets 6 games. Deshaun Watson, from all that I mean, from all the reading that I've done, he did not perform unwanted sexual act. He asked for inappropriate things to be done to him, mm-hmm. which the girl could have said no. Now, whether she was pressured, whether she felt the pressure to do it because he's Deshaun Watson and whatever, but she could have said no, walked out of the room, gotten out of that, and gone about her business that way. But it's not like he jumped up and was like, you're going to do this or else. Like,
Hey, but Chris Dietz, why, you know what I mean? It said he ejaculated on him. You know what I mean? Why would you not keep the semen and go straight to the cops?
That's what I don't.
If you so much a victim, look, Monica
I
Lewinsky did the same thing. You know what I mean? Bill Clinton, she kept that cum. You know what I mean? On that dress, and that was her evidence. Why she didn't do that? Why none of the victims did that? If it was that traumatizing, this and Roger Goodell and the PA, you know, the NFL, they labeling this man as he's a mass rapist.
They tried to do all of that to him, and if you read the cases, I mean, so one of them, I was massaging him, and he manipulated his penis to be in the way of the massage. Like, the wording of it, I was like, if he can do that, like, you're basically making him a magician. Like, I want to know how he pulled out. Like, oh wait, what is going on here? So you were giving him a massage, and he just happened to throw his junk like in the way. Like, how did he manipulate it? How did he manipulate his own member to get in the way? Like that, I don't understand. I don't understand how that works. So a lot of it just doesn't make sense. And the thing is, Deshaun Watson has said he's denied all of these claims. He's denied everything. So it's he said, she said. And the judge in the first case said, and I'm quoting from her response, was, there's evidence on both sides. There's no way to determine fault. Those are direct quotes. Like, if you can't determine it, you can't make a judgment. And to give him 12, he gets 12 games, and the media. I talked about this before. Sports Illustrated has basically been the forefront of this, and they've even said, "Oh, he's getting suspended for sexual misconduct." That's not why he's being suspended. He's being suspended for breaking the NFL's public whatever it's called, public behavior clause or whatever. He's being suspended because when this happened, he didn't report it to the NFL. That's why he's being suspended. And to make it 12 games, it was a witch hunt from day one. But here's the thing. The lawyer for the women, for the 23 women, the lawyer came out. And I want to read you his quote, and I want to see if you come to the same conclusion I did. He slammed Deshaun Watson, Roger Goodell, and the NFL. He said those three entities are the cause of all of this, and they haven't done anything. Do you notice who's missing in that? Deshaun Watson, Roger Goodell, and the NFL. Surprisingly, the Houston Texans are not mentioned at all. Why? Because they gave them all the information.
So, like I've been saying this, it feels like some deep down blackmail, extortion type of crap. Because he had no plans of wanting to be or interested to play for the Texans no more. You know what I mean? I feel like it's some extortion, and they should get heavily fined. And that owner should lose his ownership, because that's some deep down extortion, blackmails type stuff.
That's where this investigation should be. This investigation should be in what the Houston Texans knew when they knew it, and how they dealt with it. Because there's no way you can tell me that they didn't know. That they didn't know this was not. They provided Deshaun Watson with a non-disclosure agreement that came from the head office of the Houston Texans. The head security office gave him a non-disclosure to give to all the women he got massages from. So you're telling me you didn't know? You didn't know this, but your own organization was giving out non-disclosure agreements? No. You knew what was going on. You knew what was going on. Come on. But somehow the NFL says, nope, the Houston Texans didn't know anything and we're not investigating it. They're not even going to look into. Oh, the lawyer happens to be the neighbor of the next door neighbor of the owner of the Houston Texans. Just happens to get the case. But there's no investigation. It's baffling. And the Houston Texans deserve. I said it from day one. Whatever Deshaun Watson gets, the Houston Texans should get twice as much, because they opened this can of worms, and because they covered it up. And the old adage is always true: the cover up is worse than the crime.
And that's how I really do feel, man. I feel like if I was him, I wouldn't took the plea. I wouldn't took them 11 games. Not at all. Because I'm not guilty. You're not going to give me 11 games when you already said, the judge already said to give me 6 games. Like, you know what I mean? So how are you going to give me 11 from that? It seems to me they want to derail the Cleveland Browns, you know what I mean, the Cleveland Browns season. They know if they had them out for 11 games, there's no way for them to make the playoffs.
They got mad that
he got that big deal too.
That Cleveland made the trade, and then Cleveland, signed him to that ridiculous contract. And that's when the NFL was like, no, we gotta put a stop to it. We gotta put a stop to it.
And I'm kind of interested to know what the Big Ben fine-wise was. I want to know what kind of fine did he get for them 6 games. Because that $5 million for that 11 games is ridiculous to me. That is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't know what the fine was with this. I don't remember it. Because it was.
Wait, let me see.
7 years ago. 6 or 7 years ago. So. I don't remember the fine. I just remember the amount of games, but yeah, that's a very interesting question.
I'm gonna look it up.
What his fine was, because not only is Deshaun Watson, people say, oh, he got fined $5 million. He's also not going to get his game check. So he's going to be paying whatever that amount is, whatever his game check amount is, which I don't know the math on that, but I'm sure there are smarter people out there that can figure out whatever his. I think he makes $23 million, whatever that is divided by 12.
So he only got an estimate $2.8 million fine for raping somebody.
So look at what the NFL is telling you. What they're telling you is what Deshaun Watson did is 2 times as bad as what Big Ben did. They're telling you it's 2 times worse. But when you read the facts of the case, you're like, wait, this isn't even close. And I've had this argument with people. On multiple on other shows, offline. I've had arguments with friends. I've had arguments at the bar with people, I get it. 23. I get it. The number 23 people it's horrible. But what Big Ben did is 10 times worse in my book. In my book, sexual assault is 10 times worse, and the penalty was half as much. Doesn't make any sense.
It definitely doesn't make no sense at all.
And you don't even have to look at Big Ben. What's the running back? The running back for the Saints.
Oh, Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara is on trial for felony battery.
Mm-hmm. How many games he get?
He got 6. He got 16 for felony battery of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
But what Deshaun Watson did is two times worse. This is where you look at this and you go, this is an absolute witch hunt. There's no other way to describe it.
Man, it promotes the bad. I'm hoping some of these big time college players start messing with their money and be like, I don't want to get drafted in the NFL. I want to go to XFL for a couple years, or you know what I mean. That's how you start hurting their pockets.
Go to the USFL. Go to the USFL. You know, be a Warren Moon type. Be a Warren Moon type. Go to USFL for a year.
I'm just saying that's how you start hitting their pocket. I'm good. I don't want to sign this contract. I'm going to USFL for a little bit. You know what I mean? Because that's when they start seeing, oh man, I can't bring no new product to the field. That's how you start hurting their pockets.
And until somebody does that, and it doesn't even have to be a player. Mm-hmm. I don't even understand why. I understand like Deshaun Watson is not the guy you want to get behind.
Mm-hmm.
But until people like, where's the NAACP on it? The only reason he got suspended twice as long is because he's black. Yeah. That's the only reason. That's it. And nobody wants to say nobody says anything. The NFLPA is like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Like, where's Malcolm Jenkins? I was thinking about this. Remember when Colin Kaepernick knelt down? There were absolute meltdowns by people like Malcolm Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL is racist. Where are those guys now?
They're worried about that cream, like Wu-Tang said. Cash rules everything around me. That's what they worried about.
Where are they now? When you have an actual case of a black guy getting 2 times worse, and in some cases, I brought this up before. Brett Favre did basically the same thing that Deshaun Watson did, except it was recorded.
Mm-hmm.
There were pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Favre didn't get suspended for a single game.
Mm-hmm.
But Deshaun Watson gets 12. I don't understand it. And there's only one difference between these guys. It happens to be the color of skin.
Hey, we can even go farther on. Ray Rice, Chad Wheeler. Chad Wheeler beat the mess out of his girlfriend. I remember that offensive lineman from Seattle that beat his black girlfriend up to pieces. And she was all messed up. They never said he's got a lifetime ban. But Ray Rice got a lifetime ban, like from the NFL because that video. You know what I mean?
Josh Brown, the punter.
Mm-hmm.
The punter that was the media didn't even care because he retired, and they're like, whatever, we don't care, we're not going to get involved. Oh, but Deshaun Watson, we got to jump all over that.
And you know what I mean?
All over that, and we have. They said it. They had articles written. We need to enact our own justice against him. Why? What reason do you have other than? Like my first question to this author, to the authors of those articles, and to the media at heart: why are you attacking this guy? There's plenty of other cases that you could have gone after, but you didn't. But you're gonna go after this guy. Explain to me what it is other than the color of his skin. And they have no answer. They have no answer because we all know what the real answer. The real answer is. He's a black quarterback, and nobody liked the fact that he got millions and millions of dollars. That's what it is.
And you know what I mean? So we can get off this dead horse, man, because nothing's going to change, man. We get out there on the line and we press it, and a lot of people scared to.
Nothing is going to change, and that's the problem. The problem's not with the NFL. The problem is with the media that covers the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to ask the questions that need to be asked.
And I'm saying this. I do expect this to happen after these 11 games up. You know what I mean, and the NFL praying that Jacoby Brissett stink up the place and his suspension up. Expect. Every arena that, the last couple games left, 6 games left of the season, the booing to come. Like he really killed somebody. You know what I mean? I expected the booing going to be louder than Michael Vick after his situation, after he got out of, his suspension and stuff like that. I expect signs to be up to, to humiliate Watson. I expect the booing.
Road games will be absolute. It'll be an absolute shit show.
Exactly.
I mean, road games. This guy's gonna get roasted every stadium he walks in.
Mm-hmm.
But when he walks in and takes his first snap for Cleveland, nobody's gonna be booing him. Mm-hmm. The dog pound's gonna be cheering for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to cheer for the jersey. They're not going to cheer for the quarterback. They're going to cheer for the helmet.
I'm saying this right now.
And
this will be the worst thing that happened to the NFL if Cleveland is still in contention and Deshaun Watson makes it to the AFC Championship game. They will be so hurt by that the Cleveland Browns got the AFC. They will be so hurt.
Oh, you're gonna see stories. You're gonna see stories. If Cleveland's in any contention, every time Deshaun Watson's brought up, they're gonna say they're gonna talk about this. They're gonna talk about the suspension. And if they're in an AFC Championship game, there's gonna be exposés on this. So the NFL is just hoping that they're nowhere near the playoffs.
They would even be more sick if they accidentally made the Super Bowl. Could you imagine that the media see him in the Super Bowl?
Oh, it'd be great. Can you imagine him out there on media day? On media day, Deshaun Watson taking the podium. I mean, he'd have to go and get Marshawn Lynch to be his coach. And be like, what do I do? Just go out there, and he'd have to be like, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here so I don't get fined, because they're going to ask him every question under the sun. And there's going to be people that aren't even football fans that are there because they're there every year to ask stupid questions. Deshaun Watson's going to be hit with all of them. He's going to have to do that. He's going to have to learn how to deflect. And like I said, just call Marshawn Lynch and get him out there, because it's going to be a joke. But that's why what the NFL has done is they've made me root for the Cleveland Browns this year.
Yeah, me too.
Like I want them, because I want the NFL to get all everything that's coming to them, and I want the media exposed, because they were on this all the way up until now. Now that it's done, now that they got what they wanted, let's see how they react.
No pun intended. Let's put the nail in this coffin of Deshaun Watson. What? You know what I mean? We're about to wrap up baseball, another month or so, and it's about to be postseason. What kind of what do you expect from, you know what I mean, the rest of the playoff contention? What do you expect to be some dark horses, some you know what I mean, what do you expect out of that?
I don't know if they count as a dark horse, but the Mets,
pitching looking real good. The pitching looking really good.
My Mets are gonna be right there. And
I'm liking how you tearing up the Phillies. You know, my fiance is cursing. My fiance is cursing about how y'all owning the Phillies this year. She's cursing. But
the Mets with those two pitchers,
mm-hmm.
in the first series, in that short series, they already got 2 games under their belt.
Mm-hmm.
You got Scherzer and DeGrom. If you win both those games, you know that they're coming back in games 4 and 5. So you're in good shape. In a 7-game series, you could throw one of those guys 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mets are in one of the best. I mean, the Dodgers injuries are starting to happen. Obviously the Tatis suspension it cripples the Padres, but
how do you feel about that suspension?
It is what it is, man. I don't understand. His explanation is worse than the crime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I took this and I took this to get rid of, it was a medicine that was in some. You're a professional athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is your ticket. Anything that's going in it, you should know everything that's going in it. There's no excuse. You can't use the excuse, oh, I took this medicine and I didn't know it had.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Like, what are you doing? Because no doctor is going to be like you go to a team doctor, they know what's on the banned. They know what's on the banned list. So why did you go to a doctor who doesn't know that? So I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for his suspension, because I can't believe his excuse. His excuse of not knowing doesn't fly.
Man, I gotta ask you again, man. My Orioles. We looked it good against the Blue Jays a couple times, man. Do you think we still have any smidget of a chance to sneak in?
No. No. They got way too many games against the Yankees coming up. And now that's what's gonna sink their ship. Is they got a tougher schedule than the rest of the guys in the wild card. They're not catching the Yankees, so their only hope is to get in as a wild card. And I believe it's Seattle and Oakland, and Seattle and Oakland get to play the Texas Rangers. So They're gonna get wins, and the central division doesn't matter because they all stink. But I don't think I think the Orioles play too tough of a schedule down the stretch.
Yeah. So what do you think the Rangers going to be one wild card bounce? Do you think they can get past the wild card division? The Rangers.
No. Nobody can get past. Nobody can get past. In the AL, we're on course to Houston against the Yankees.
Who do you think that's going to win that series? You think Houston's just going to overbearing?
I think Houston will win in 6 or 7.
Okay.
The Yankees don't have the pit. They don't have the pitching to keep up with Houston. That's where the Yankees will falter. They didn't go out and get a big enough arm. Cole is not. He's not the same pitcher that he was.
Mm-hmm.
So Houston will take it, but the Yankees have enough bats to win some games. So they'll win some games, but I expect Houston in 6.
So if you had to do a prediction for the World Series, who you have?
Prediction, I'm going Houston, LA.
Houston and LA.
Houston, LA.
The Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers. I think the Mets will give it a good run, but being a Mets fan, I can't put any faith in. I can't put any faith in the Mets. The Mets have broken. They've broken my heart way too many times for me to be like, yes, let's go Mets. I'll be rooting for them, but I can't make that prediction. I can't make that prediction because if I do, they won't watch. If I predicted the Mets to be in the World Series, they wouldn't even make the playoffs. Something would happen. DeGrom's arm would fall off.
So what do you feel like your team needs to get to that level to win a World Series? What do you think? What kind of moves do you think they need to get to that point?
I think the Mets are making it. I think they're all in the right. They need to grow up, and they need to secure a bullpen. They have the starting pitching, but they need arms. They need arms in the bullpen.
So what kind of arms? If let's say in a fantasy world, what arms? If you could find something in free agency. And just in a fantasy world, what would you grab up?
You need a strong lefty. You need a strong lefty righty combination. You know that's what the Mets don't have right now. The Mets have one lefty in the bullpen. So if they go against the lineup of left-handed batters, they're in trouble. You need to be able to match. That's what playoff baseball comes down to. It comes down to matchups. And you need to be able to say, all right, we got lefties coming up. We need a left-handed arm for the 6th inning. And that's what they need to get. And you need to be able to do that so that Scherzer and DeGrom don't have to go 7 or 8. They can go 6 innings. Why were the Yankees so dominant in the late 90s? Because their starters only had to go 6 innings. You knew if you had the lead after 6 innings, the game was over. With that Yankees bullpen, you knew Jeff Nelson was coming in. You knew Wetland was coming in the 8th, and you knew Mo was coming in the 9th. You weren't getting by. And that's the way I look at a dominant team. Dominant team, if you can dominate 6, 7, and 8, if you can dominate the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings, you're pretty golden.
So how do you what do you have coming up with your channel, Fifth Down Sports? What do you have coming up this week?
This week, well, like I said, I'm starting my research, so we're gonna do we're gonna start with the three. We're gonna do the power conferences as far as our previews. So we're gonna go with the three. We're gonna go with the Pac. We're gonna combine the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the ACC. So we'll do all those, and then we'll do all those this week, and then next week we'll do the SEC and the Big 10. So this week we'll focus on the three. We'll focus on the Pac-12. And like I said, the transfer portal. We're going to be talking about all these guys that transferred because it's an absolute mess with where everybody is. And we'll talk about we'll talk about the conferences in depth. We'll give you guys that you should be watching, guys that if you're not a college fan, if you're an NFL fan, the reasons why you should be watching college football.
And another question for you. I wouldn't mind having you on Monday and we do like a NFL pick'em for the Sundays if you was interested in doing that.
Absolutely.
And some college pick'ems, you know what I mean? If you was interested in doing something like that so we can get some picks out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll be doing that on my show when we get closer to when we get to the season. Mm-hmm. I usually do 10 college games each week. I pick sometimes I pick the best games, sometimes I just pick the most ridiculous spreads. Games that people can make money, and then I always pick every NFL game. We pick them against the spread, I'm definitely down for pick'ems and all of that, and over-unders. I'm here to make y'all money. That's what this is all about. It's all about who to pick, who to get money from.
And you said that's what you have coming up the Thursday, right? Thursday, what time?
Yeah. We'll do Thursday. I'm hoping 8:00 Eastern. It's always subject to change unless I get somebody on as a guest. Well, I'm hoping to get in at 8:00.
Okay.
I work every other night. I work nights, so my schedule is backwards for everything. So, I'm trying to do earlier and earlier, but most of the time by Thursday, my body's like, nah, we're not getting up.
Yeah, I'll be some days I just take breaks. Take a break. You gotta cut the screens off sometimes. So
absolutely. But it's like I said, I was just so mind bent after watching She-Hulk this week. I was like, no, I was like, I can't even. This is the first time I've been up since then. My mind has just been like, what the hell am I doing? What are we doing? What are we? And then the Deshaun Watson stuff broke, and I just got even more like, oh God, what are we doing? Where are we headed?
So that's Thursday. Anything else during the week?
Let's get this going.
So that's all you have coming up this week. The Pac and ACC.
This week we'll be doing previews. We'll talk a little bit about preseason, but like I said, as long as everybody comes away, as long as your team comes away intact and not injured, you win. It doesn't matter what the score is. It matters that everybody walks off the field.
So, it's the end of that episode, man. I appreciate you coming on, Chris Dietz, and giving your, unapologetic, thoughts. You know what I mean? That's why I like you. You're a straight shooter, and that's what we need on this, in this media world.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. Go support him on Thursday. He said at 8. He's going to do a review of, the ACC pack and all that, and, he can get some information. Again, I appreciate you coming on, man. You have a good rest of your day, man. Hope you get some sleep. And I got a honey-to-do list to do, so
always love coming on, talking sports, talking anything. I love coming on, and like Rob said, check on over to Fit Down Sports Show, like our show, subscribe to our network so you get all the updates, and when we do a show, it'll come on to you. Like I said, I'll be doing Thursday. I'll be doing that. I will be doing a She-Hulk breakdown.
Oh man, why would you?
At some point.
Oh.
And I will be ripping this. I will be ripping this to shreds as soon as I get my mind wrapped around it. I will be ripping this show apart.
I hope you have some Pepto Bismol and some ginger ale for that stomach to do that.
Exactly.
All right, appreciate you coming on, Chris Dietz, and that's been Chris Dietz of Fifth Down Sports. Go check him out. Y'all have a good rest of y'all week. And we out of here.